been interesting, open source is a foundation of clouds, right? If you look at all the major public cloud providers, your Googles, your Amazons, your Facebooks, they're all based on open source technologies, and that's for a couple of reasons. First is I think cost. That seems obvious. The second is that because cloud infrastructures are so fluid and moving so quickly, open source is a great way for cloud providers to kind of grab that innovation and apply it to their infrastructure. And as enterprises and federal agencies start consuming cloud, they're also using open source because they get to benefit from all the lessons learned from these public cloud providers, right? So when products like Hadoop come onto the stage, when hypervisors like KVM come onto all these new technologies, those are enabled and built largely by the public cloud providers, and then can be easily consumed by the federal agencies. So there's a nice kind of feedback loop there, where everyone is working together collaboratively on these common open source platforms. So open source has made sure that cloud is here to stay, and cloud is making sure that open source is here to stay. So we're talking a lot about this open cloud idea, and that's a response to a lot of vendors, and this is typical in early stages of technology where you have vendors who want to give you a complete, totally integrated solution, which is very, very attractive, especially for newer technologies and newer approaches, right? So you have vendors who want to sell you a big black refrigerator for $2 million, and that refrigerator is going to be your cloud, right? We think that that's actually the opposite of a cloud. Clouds are supposed to be based on open standards. They're supposed to permit interoperability, right? So I should be able to move my workload from one cloud to another with a minimum of hassle. I should be able to have something flexible so I can take one technology and swap it out for another, so I'm not subject to vendor lock-in, right? We spent the last 15, 20 years moving off of vendor lock-in, moving off of these proprietary systems and onto open source systems based on open standards. It would be a shame if we took all those systems, moved them into a cloud, and went back into the vendor lock-in problem. So the open cloud is about ensuring that you're using the best technology, that you have options, that you can choose your cloud provider and you're not locked into to one particular provider, and that you're able to consume new technology as it comes onto the market. Yeah, so as people start, first they'll virtualize, and then they'll start moving into these cloud computing environments, and what they find is when they take their systems and they move them into these virtualized or cloud environments, they suddenly realize, like, I've got 8 different messaging systems, I got 4 different databases, and I actually need to start standardizing these things. And if I don't start consolidating and standardizing, then I'm taking the same mess I had in my data center, and now I'm just hosting it somewhere else, right? So they're looking for efficiencies in an enterprise setting by standardizing on particular standards, particular technologies, and platform as a service is a way to kind of deliver that pre-approved, those baselines to developers, right? So developers don't have to go build a system from scratch. They can just say, please give me a PHP system, or please give me Ruby on Rails, and so on. So that's what platform as a service about. And I think in part because, again, cloud is largely based on open source technologies, and also because most of the developers nowadays are accustomed to open source tools. We've tried to help this by creating a tool called OpenShift. So OpenShift is our platform as a service, and we actually just released the source code to it. So anyone can download a copy of OpenShift and actually run a platform as a service right on their own desktop. It's really exciting. We've had a lot of interest from federal agencies who see tools like OpenShift as a way to begin to drive standards inside their organization and kind of eliminate a lot of that complexity, and make it, frankly, easier for their developers to work inside their enterprise. I think one of the best practices, a lot of people think when they think about moving to clouds, they think about the entry costs, right? Like, how much is it going to cost for me to take this one system and move it into this new environment? Am I going to have to retool? Am I going to have to change my processes? And the answer, of course, is yes to all this stuff. One thing that I think people lose sight of is that they need to account for not only the entry costs for a new system, but also the exit costs for the new system. One of the most expensive things about moving to cloud is not actually buying the new cloud technologies or subscribing to a new cloud service. One of the most expensive things is getting out of the system that you're in currently. And so as you're evaluating cloud options, you want to look at how easy is it going to be for me to move, right? If technology is moving really quick, if in 2 years there's a much better provider out there, I want to be able to take what I've got and move it to them, right? I want to be able to compete providers against each other. And so when you're evaluating this, you need to be looking at things like open standards and open source software as a way of kind of reducing that lock-in and really enabling a market inside your own enterprise, so you can start competing vendors against each other.